Hello folks, welcome to the second episode of my Jay113 JavaScript course. That's what I'm calling it, right? And also one thing which you need to understand is whenever I'm taking a class or recording a class, I have a general outline. I have my notes, I got my notebook, I have my notes on my second monitor and all this, but usually I give myself a lot of freedom so that I want to cover a specific set of topics, but at the same time I could diverge. I want to have that freedom because usually when you are working for a company or a corporation, you don't have much freedom. But again, this is my course and this is my YouTube channel, so I would like my teaching style is very free flowing, and some might even say unfocused, so which is something you need to accept. So if you are like no, I don't have the time for such a kind of teaching style, then you shouldn't be watching this video. But if you are more free flowing as well, because that is how you should allow your mind to learn anything, because if you are just looking at a tunnel or something, just what is in front of you, I do not believe that is learning. Learning should be an explorative experience. You have to allow your mind to wander and let it pick up the things it wants. It's not a straight line, it's like a big jungle, and I want you to explore it at your own leisure. I'm a big fan of learning leisurely. Whatever I've learned in my life, I've tried to learn it in my own speed. Usually I don't set any deadlines and things like that. So anyway, so welcome to episode 1. In the previous episode, hopefully you have watched the previous episode. Before coming here, I talked about the general things you need to do before you can actually begin coding. So I'm going to assume that you watched the previous episode before coming here, or you're already aware of the things I discussed over there. Now today what I want to talk about is, now I'm looking here because I have my second monitor. Very important to have two monitors when you're learning coding, right? So I am truly talking about the interplay between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now this class is mainly meant for people who are completely new to coding. Okay, so if you already have done some coding, then this class is not for you. So what I'm really talking about is when we are thinking about web programming. Okay, so we are always talking about, maybe I need a PowerPoint for this. Hold on, so let me get my PowerPoint up and running. Okay, there we go. There it is. Okay, now this one is called right. Okay, so this one is, I'm calling my classes Jay113 JavaScript online classes. I know it's a big title, but it is what it is. And this is going to be episode, hold on, 1 segment 1. Okay, and I think I'm gonna make this a little smaller. There we go. It seems like a nice title kind of deal. Wait, is this the same box? Come on. Where is the duplicate option? Now, there's one reason I like Canva. Canva is very user-friendly, but I'm adjusting to this also. It's fine. I can do Control C, Control V. There we go. Okay, my friend. There you are. There you are. Okay. All right. Probably you're thinking, how organized is this guy? Well, there you go. Okay, all right, and here I'm mainly talking about this one. So let's go ahead and copy and then paste that there. Okay, I have my notes on my second monitor, so there we go. And we want to make this a little smaller as well. Cool, there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. And let me take a different color for this. Okay, all right. So there we go. That's Jay113 JavaScript online classes. I think I have a different Discord link, I believe. No, I think the old one is different. Yeah, this is the new one. Okay, I think that kind of takes care of it. That's my website as well, in case you want to check it out. So essentially what I'm talking about is I'm trying to explain the very first thing you want to do when you are about to start a coding web development course, especially my class, is you need to understand that there are three things when we are talking about web development. You have HTML, which I would like to think of it as a skeleton. Okay, so if I have to draw a picture to you or something, then what we are going to say is we are going to go to Bing image creator, and we are going to say like a skeleton. I like this Bing image AI creator. So whenever I talk about programming, okay, web development, we are talking about HTML, we are talking about CSS, and we are talking about JavaScript. And for me, in my head, every time I think of a HTML, I always think of it as the skeleton of your web app. Now ultimately, please understand, it doesn't matter whether you're using a framework like React.js or Vue.js or some other framework. Maybe you end up using a library like CSS library like Bootstrap or something. Ultimately, everything that you see, everything from web apps or mobile apps or websites, whatever it is, they all boil down to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So eventually they all come down to these three files. So that is what you have to learn first. Now this is a crash course, obviously. The course that I'm trying to teach, Jay113 JavaScript online classes, is like a quick 2-3 day. That's what I'm imagining right now. It may change in the future, but right now in my head, whenever I do a batch, it's going to be like a 2 or 3 day quick workshop, roughly about 6 to 10 hours, not more than that. I don't imagine it to be. So I just want to compress the entire training to the core concepts you need to build a very simple web app. And what is that simple web app that you are going to build? And that is there on my GitHub. Now hopefully by now you have understood. You already visited my GitHub account, you already visited my GitHub organization and stuff like that. Now here I have a couple of projects, and what you really want to be building, and what I think I can teach you how to build, is this one. So if you go to my link, the links are there in the description. So what you would really learn, I made a small GIF animation about it. There you go. This is what you're going to be building. It's a simple web app. You click on the button, it contacts the NASA APOD API server, and you get the image. I'll run it live for you. So there we go. I go here. I put some, so there we go. So what you'll be building is, it's just a photo. I have a hobby, photography, so I use my own photos in my projects. So this project, what it does is, let me open the developer tools here. So when I click on this, notice what happens on the right side. You can see here it's contacting the API from NASA. Okay, and NASA is responding with an image. Look at that. It's a very, very simple website, web app, website, web app, they're both the same thing. So this is what I'm hoping to teach you in this JS113 course. This is what you'll be able to build. It is extremely simple. And if you are watching this and you're like, you already know how to do this, then you don't have to worry about watching this video or ask join one of my batches. However, if you're new to coding, my idea is if you can build this much, then this what we are trying to do here, if becoming a developer, a full-fledged course is like a movie, then what I am trying to do here is like a teaser. It's not even a trailer, it's like a teaser. It just to get your beak wet in the world of programming, which is all I am trying to do here. Just give you an idea to how you build something so simple. That is what I want to do. That is why the course is barely 6 to 10 hours plus some doubt sessions and stuff like that. So that is what I believe I can deliver over a few days, because this is what I specialize in. I specialize on teaching first-time coders. I've been doing this for 10 years now, and it doesn't give me that much money, but it's still a reasonable amount of money to live a comfortable life. A comfortable life is all I seek. So I'm happy just teaching the basics, because every year more and more people are always trying to learn the basics. It's like It's like in school, my PT teacher used to say, it doesn't matter which sport you want to it doesn't matter which sport you're trying to play. Everything starts by practicing how to walk and of course how to run. If you can do these two things properly, later you can decide which sport you want to jump into. And I sort of remember that every time I do any kind of teaching. So what I want to do here is I want to give you the basics, a very microscopic amount of basic knowledge about coding. And this is a project that you will build at the end of the course. And second thing is I have another project equally simple with an extra amount of complication. I won't go deep into that right now, but I'll show it to you. It's there on my GitHub again. So what this does is it's again a simple application. Again, you see this girl again here. I like this photo, so I use it. So what this does is it has some input as well. Like in the other demo I showed you, there's no demo, there's no input or anything. You simply click on the button and then it contacts the NASA API server and it shows you the image from the NASA website. So this is a simple button clicking. But I figured even for a basic course, I believe that I should show you some amount of input based response. So that is where I came up with this one. And in fact, one of my students actually contributed to this repository. It's pretty cool when I think about it. So what is going to happen here is, so I have this formula in my head. I have this formula where, whenever anybody takes a course with me, not like this crash course, because this is like 2 or 3 days max, but when you join a conventional course, like if you're really serious about a career in software development and you join like a 3-month or 4-month full-length course or a university or something, then a common question that comes is, how long does it take to become a developer? So for that I have a simple formula. So let's say every week you're taking spending 4 hours with your tutor, okay, and then you should practice. And this is very important. For every 1 hour you spend with your tutor, you have to be spending 3 times that. So 1 hour of tutoring, 3 hours of practice. So 4 hours of tutoring, then you must practice for 12 hours. That's every week, 16 hours. Then if you do that, then according to my website, my formula, okay, this is my own website. Again, another photo. As I said, I'm a photographer. Please excuse the photos. I like to show off my photography hobby. This is also one of my favorite photos. So it says here that, oh, hold on, let me just do that again. It says here that it will take, wait, did that message go away? Oh, no, hold on, let me, let me reset. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to say 4 hours, and then I'm going to say 12 hours of practice, which means it'll take you 6 months to complete the course with 12 hours of practice and 4 hours of tutoring. So there you go. According to me, with 16 hours of practice every week, it'll take you roughly 6 months to become a developer. Of course, some people might take longer than that. Some people might take less than that, okay, because intelligence levels vary and the infrastructure available to you varies and stuff like that. So that is my theory. So this is a second mini project. So by the end of this crash course, this is a crash course. It gets over in 2-3 days, in 6 to 10 hours. You'll be able to build something simple like this. Okay, you'll be able to build something simple like this. Hold on, let's reload. There we go. And you will be able to build something simple like this. Let me reset this. Okay, and then I'm going to say 4 hours. Then I'm going to press enter, 12 hours, and then I'm going to click on this. Something is happening here. I'll explain that later in the class. And I get a response. The images are changing, it's stuff like that. A lot of things are changing. So there you go. So this is what you're going to be learning in this one. And I just want to explain that before. So in this class, before I take a break or something here, I will only be compressing. I'll be compressing the entire, I spoke about HTML, CSS and JavaScript and the interplay. So my plan here is in this crash course, I will be compressing, the learning to these 6 to 10 hours. And the idea is to give you enough knowledge to build the projects I just showed you. So that is my plan. So there you go. And then so I'm going to take a break now. When I come back, I'll show you some HTML, I'll show you some CSS, I'll show you some JavaScript, and I believe I'll show you some Bootstrap as well. And that's what's going to be this episode. So yeah, see you in the break. Hello and welcome. So I took a break and now I'm back. As I mentioned, I am recording this tutorial episode over multiple days and then kind of stitching them together later using some video editing software. So in the previous section, I was mentioning about the interplay between HTML. I keep looking here because I have a second monitor and my notes and everything. So I was speaking about the interplay between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and stuff like that. And of course, I also showed you what is the plan, what is the end game, the 2 mini projects that you'll be building. And I put the links for those projects so you can check it out yourself, how it looks, the code and everything. Okay, so I already, this is like a 2 or 3 day workshop at best, 6 to 10 hours, not more than that. So I'm just compressing everything into the bare minimum that you need to know. Now today what I'll do is I would like to show you there are 3 main things that, as I mentioned, that there are 3 main things: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So which means even if we don't go too deep into these 3 topics, because HTML and CSS alone, you could spend, I don't know, 100 hours learning everything. And JavaScript alone, you could spend another 100, 200, even 300 hours just learning all the JavaScript concepts. So these things are like an ocean, okay? As I mentioned, I'm not trying to show you the entire movie, which is software development, and I'm not even trying to show you a trailer. I'm merely interested in showing you a teaser, like a 30-second teaser, which is what this programming is all about. But still, even in a teaser, I still need to show something. Even a 30-second teaser has a beginning, has an end, has a middle. There are some titles, there are some scenes that need to be shot and everything, right? So let's do that. So the very first thing, let me get my PowerPoint up and running here, right? Let's go ahead and do that. I think that audio is getting recorded. For whatever reason, I think this microphone is getting old. I mean, it is pretty expensive microphone, but it is getting old. I bought this in 2017. Yeah, it's a very old one. It's still working. I have 2 other microphones, but this is still my favorite microphone. But sometimes the cable, it becomes a little loose. I know, as I said, it's getting old. I am planning to buy another version. I don't want to buy the same one. I want to buy something more expensive. So I'm working on that. Okay, my PowerPoint is ready. So here, there we go. So the next thing, this is my website. You want to visit, please visit. This is my Discord. You want to join my Discord group, ask questions, chat with me, you can do that, right? So now the first thing is, even in a teaser, even this is compressed workshop, you still need to learn how to run a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project. Okay, this is something, even in a crash course, you need to run, learn how to run a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, because, the 2 mini projects that I showed you, you need to build it and you need to be able to run it, and you will also learn how to deploy. So that is also there. But first, let's start with something simple. And I think another thing I will touch upon in this chapter, maybe not in this segment, and I'll record the next segment. So the same thing plus Bootstrap. Okay, so that is what we are going to do right now. There are multiple ways you can do this. See, one of the reasons why I like web development, and one of the reasons why I know for the last few years especially, I'm going deep into teaching the basics of web development, is because there are multiple ways to teach it. There are students who just join my classes on their iPad or an Android tablet. There are students who are traveling all the time, so they have internet access and they have a laptop. Okay, they don't have, like for example, in the previous video, one of the previous videos, I mentioned how you can set up your computer. Yes, of course, I expect you to do that. However, sometimes, as I said, this is a crash course. This is meant to be like a small desert. So there is the flexibility. So if you are not able to do all those steps that I mentioned in the previous videos, then you can still learn web programming simply by using a computer or a tablet which has a browser running. So you can just write all your code in a browser. Okay, so there are multiple ways to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, especially what I'm trying to teach in this compressed workshop. So there are 3 methods. First method, let me go ahead and create a slide here from PowerPoint. I'll keep an eye here on my screen. Now, if anything is blocking, my face, that video section, if it's blocking anything, I will move it around. Okay, but right now it's not blocking anything important. So the first thing, the best way Let me start with the easiest way. The easiest way to run things is, of course, online, and there are many ways to do this. The first simple way I'm going to go with, there's a website called W3 Schools. This is one of my favorite websites. It's free, a lot of things are free. One of the things I like about learning in 2023 is how easy and free a lot of things are. For example, you're watching this on a YouTube video, you didn't pay for it. I mean, there may be an ad running before the video. I don't think I have an option to disable the ads. Maybe there is, but I don't see a button right now. Maybe I'll get it in the future. So other than this, that ad that you had to sit through, I'm sorry about it. This is an ad-based economy because the video is free. So other than that, you're not really paying anything for this video. And I am a reasonably highly paid coding tutor with a reasonably good English and everything. So you are getting a reasonably quality education right now for no cost. This is what I like about this decade, the whole 2020s and 2010s and all that. There is so much of information available completely for free, or in ad based free. It's still but when I was learning, I'm talking about 1990s and 2000s, we didn't have all these facilities. I had to go to the library because with all due respect, our teachers did not know to code because coding was still new. They had a degree and everything, but they didn't know coding. So I had to go to the library and slave myself to learn all these things. It took me almost like 2 to 4 weeks just to learn how to do bubble sort in C. It was crazy. And I didn't have a computer at that time. So I had to go all the way from home, go to the college, wait for the library to become free, wait for a computer to become free, and then sit and practice and practice and practice. It was crazy. But maybe I did have a computer, but yeah, it was my father's computer. So I had to, again, even at home, I had to wait for my father to go away or give me permission to use the computer. It was not easy, but today, you don't have to worry about that. Everybody has their own personal laptop. You can code wherever you are. Internet is there, videos are there. So really, these days, it is so easy to learn programming. So the first website I would recommend is W3 Schools. So let's give it a try right now. So I'll go here online. Okay, I think you can see the screen. Yes, sir. Just search for W3 Schools, and there it is. Oh yeah, and that's it. In fact, this is a website where you can learn to code very easily. Now what I'll do is I just want to show you a little bit of HTML. So look at this, right? Usually whatever you do in this website, there will be an example. There's a nice big button called Try It Yourself. Just click on that button and you'll get a nice online web editor. Yes, they put an ad and everything. Again, free means usually ads, right? Remember how when you buy an Android phone, there are ads everywhere? You're used to it. You're used to it. Drink water. Hydration is very important when you're coding, and I have to drink lots of water because this is summer when I recorded this and it's really hot here in my city. Okay, so there you go. So that's it. On the left side you have HTML, on the right side you have the output. So if I want to change something, I can go here and I say, hello, I am recording a tutorial video. Run. Look at that. Let me do one more. I like to copy paste instead of typing. So there you go. And I'm going to say, now I am using the h1 tag. Save. And then run. Look at that. See? Now, in my opinion, this is a very easy way to practice, W3 Schools. Another reason why I like W3 Schools is if you go back to the website. So let's say I want to do something. Let's say I want to learn how to make the background color using CSS, right? Because CSS is important. So if I go here to the top, I have the section called tutorials, and there's a lot, they have a lot of information here, like way too much. Like I said, coding today is very easy and it's free. I go to the Learn CSS section and I want to know how to make the background color. There it is. There's a nice button called Try It Yourself. Click on it. Boom. Now let's say I want to change the background color from light blue. I want to see what colors I have. So I'll go here, CSS colors, W3 Schools. Okay, again W3 Schools. Just search. It's very important when you're trying to become a Bing AI is also trying to help. Thank you. So I just want to put, let me take a color. I like pink. My mom likes pink, so I like to put that. Not deep pink, I think heart pink. Yeah, I think she likes this. So I'll take this one. Okay, I'll click on this. I'll take this. I'll go to my editor. Where is that? Here. I'll put that here and now I'll run it. Look at that. See? So easy, right? So already you can see on the left side, I have HTML on the left side. I have CSS also. I'll talk a little bit more about CSS after some time. Right now I'm focusing on the editor. And of course I have some HTML. I haven't written any JavaScript here. We'll come to that later, right? So there you go. One option for you to easily practice within your browser with flexibility. So let's say you don't have the time or you don't have the necessary facilities to install all the things I told you about in the previous videos, then it's okay. You can still learn. I mean, eventually you will have to get the entire developer setup if you're super serious about taking this up as a career. But if you're just, you're just watching a teaser, like a teaser, it's not even a trailer, it's like a small commitment right now. So if you're just trying to figure out like what this is, just satisfy your curiosity about coding, then you can do all that within your browser. So there you go. That is option number one. WD schools, a lot of ready-made examples, online editor just for practicing. You can just search and get whatever you want. So that is option number one. Now the second option, a better option, is to use CodePen. Now there are a lot of online editors. You already saw WD schools. Now CodePen is slightly more developer oriented, more hardcore. Okay. So WD School is more like kid friendly and stuff like that. But WD School is like PG-13 or something. There will be some dirty jokes, but nothing too explicit, right? Maybe one F word in the entire movie. That's PG-13. Even a Marvel movie can have an F word these days. So this is like that, very basic, bare bones. But CodePen is serious. It is rated R. Okay. So this is where you can actually do your entire learning on CodePen. Seriously, you can do that. So how do you use CodePen? So go ahead here. Now remember I told you that you still need to do some things in the previous videos. One of them was making sure you have a GitHub account. So go to codepen.io. Okay, and then just let me just show you how it looks. Yeah, I'm already logged in. So hold on. Let me open a private window. See how it looks. Okay, and then there's a button called login. Don't sign up. Just click on login and you'll get an option to log in with your GitHub account. So remember, as I mentioned many times, and I'll keep saying it in all the videos multiple times, GitHub is like your passport for coding. Make sure you have it. Make sure you have two-factor authentication enabled. Keep your GitHub account secure. And when you're creating a new account, try to give it a good name, because this is like your email address. It's gonna stay with you till you die. So please, try to take some time, pick a nice name that you won't be ashamed of when you grow old. So please don't pick anything. Think long term. Think long term. So make sure you have a good ID on Google. Okay. So once you log in, you get something like this. I already made a dedicated separate video on CodePen. I'll put that in the description. But still, I'll go ahead and show that. So let's say I want to do again. So here, for example, this background color. Where is that? Yeah, this one. Let's say I want to do this in CodePen. So what I'll do is I'll go here, I'll click here, I'll create a new pen. Cool. Like, see, remember I told you HTML, CSS and all that. Don't forget, let's give it a title. So this is my, what is this? This is HTML, CSS, Interplay. Okay, hold on. This is episode 1, right? So episode 1, CodePen demo. That's what this is. And then I'm going to hit save. Once you hit save, you'll get a nice link which you can share with others and everything. And as I said, there's a separate dedicated CodePen video I'll put in the description. Here I'm just going to breeze through it. And now I want to do this background color thing. So I'll copy the whole thing, Control A, Control C, very important. On Mac it's Command A, Command C. I'm sure you can figure that out. So I'll just put this here, save, and look at that. Hey, it's working, right? See? Look at that. You can even press on that button and you'll get the output on the right side. And this is how I like to type. If you're going to use CodePen a lot, then try to learn how to put left side and right side. On Windows, it is Windows left and Windows right, and it'll put things on the left and right. There you go. So if I want, I can go here, I can type another paragraph. Okay. So showing code for the video recording, save, and then I'll come here, reload. Look at that. Another thing which I can do is my CSS is kind of in a single page, but there is a section called CSS. So what I can do is I can remove the CSS from here, remove, Control X. Now if I save and reload, see, it's all gone. Ah, no, see, it became to the left, it came to the left, the background color is gone. It looks a little bit ugly. a little bit ugly. See, this is what CSS does. It makes your code beautiful. Now remember yesterday I was talking about how HTML, if I go to Bing image creator, not yesterday, I mean when I recorded it, previous segment, I was showing you how skeleton of line. Let me just create a skeleton of so yesterday I was telling you that HTML is kind of like skeleton. It is like a skeleton thing, right? It's like a skeleton, right? It's like a, what happened to that? What happened to that? Sorry. Yeah, it's like a skeleton, right? That's what I said yesterday, like a skeleton. It's still creating. We'll wait for it. So yeah, there you go. So HTML. Imagine you're trying to create a lion, okay? And then first you start with the skeleton because that's like the foundation. So this is how I look at. This is how I look at HTML. Whenever I think of HTML, I always say it's like a skeleton. Okay. Now CSS is the exact same skeleton. Okay, the exact same skeleton, but it has textures. It has a skin. It has a color. And obviously it's not scary. Like look at this right now. I removed the CSS. At the moment I removed it, what happened to my output? You saw for yourself. It looks so dull. Bare bones. Just the skeleton. Right? So what CSS does is it helps you make things pretty. Now obviously, both in real life, think about it. Do you like this? Or do you like this? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not saying you may not like this. Maybe. Some people like this. Nothing wrong with it. It's a free world. Well, relatively free world. You're free to make your choices, I think. But this is preferable. So obviously, in my website, I have my output here. Right now, it looks so dull. So dull. Just a skeleton. This is okay. But we can make it a little bit better. I'm not saying too better. As I said, CSS itself is a big part of learning programming. So you can actually go deep. You can spend hours and hours, maybe a year, just learning CSS. So we are not doing that here. This is a compressed course. So I just want to make it a little bit pretty, And I'm not chasing the world's most beautiful website, but I do want to make it acceptable, my own acceptable standards. Maybe not your acceptable standard, but here you go. So I have this. I want to make it a little bit better. So what I'll do here is I'll put the CSS, save. I come back. So now the text is in the center. I have a nice background color, which is pink. And again, this is in the center. All that magic happening with CSS. So now you know what exactly CSS does. So HTML, it gives you like the skeleton. If you're building a line, and then CSS helps you apply some texture to it, make it colorful and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So that is exactly what CSS does, and that is a second option. What I really was trying to explain to you is, the second way for you to practice, coding. So W Schools is the basic way. CodePen is a more developer-y style of doing. Obviously, the best way and the most complex one, which requires some amount of commitment from you, is to use a code editor. And in this case, my personal recommendation is using VS Code. Okay, there are many other editors out there, but as I mentioned, the browser, we are going to code editor with a browser. Browser, you're already using it, right? So I recommend Firefox. I'm not stopping you from not using other browsers, but I personally recommend Firefox in all my videos and everything. You'll see only Firefox. So if you're following along with me, or if you're asking doubts on my forum and Discord and other places, then I obviously was going to recommend this combination. So how do we do this in VS Code? Let's give it a try. So same thing again. This is what I want to try to create. Okay, so I'm going to keep this open. I'll need this code again. So what I'll do is I'll go on my computer and I'll go to my coding folder. I created a folder just now. So there you go. So I'm going to create a folder, right click name, and then I'm going to say this is episode 1. I'm recording. So it's very important to give a nice name. I mention this all the time. Please take a few seconds. Think of a meaningful name, whatever you're doing, and no spaces. No spaces, please. You are a programmer. Don't give spaces. If you really need spaces, use a dash or a hyphen or an underscore. But please stop using spaces. Please, I'm begging you. Recording, and I'm gonna give this a name, VS Code demo. So that giving that title took me some 10-15 seconds. Okay, now when you are programming, this is, again, I'll mention a lot of times, patience. Patience is very important. If you, even though this is a crash course, it doesn't change the fact that I am teaching this very seriously. I mean, sure, I might look like I'm taking it very casual and cavalier and whatnot. Yes, sure, but at the same time, this is serious business. Coding is serious business. This could be the difference between a good life and a bad life. Now, for me, I mentioned before as well, I grew up very poor, like serious poor, man. No money for food, no money for clothes, no money for rent. That is where I grew up. The only way I could see a Mac when I was growing up was in a photo, you know, like in a photo of a magazine. I would touch the paper of the Mac, and I would just sit and think about imagining using a Mac. Of course, today I have multiple iPhones, iPads, and multiple Macs in my house. So yeah, you know, some wish fulfillment happening over there. But I know. But for me, what really helped me have a slightly better life, a happy life, a content life, if not a happy one, is coding. So for me, this is super serious, and it should be for you as well. So please be patient when you're learning coding, even in a crash course, which is only 2-3 days and 6 to 10 hours. So there you go. Make sure you take the time to give meaningful names and no spaces. Right, so I create a folder. Okay, go inside, and then I'm going to open this in VS Code. Now, in one of the previous videos, I already explained how to install all these tools. So you can only do this step if you did all that steps. If you're coming directly to this video, go back, watch the previous videos, and then come back here. So now what I'll do is, remember, when you look at this one, you'll see that there are 3 things. And I mentioned this previously as well. Now, when you, let me open the Paint software here. Now, please understand that it doesn't matter whatever you're building on the web. Ultimately, it boils down to 3 things. The first thing is HTML, which is at the center of everything. Okay, and the second thing is, of course, JavaScript. And finally, the third thing is CSS. Now, it doesn't matter what you're building in the web. You may be building a mobile app, you may be building React.js, Angular, Vue.js, whatever it is, it literally does not matter. They all eventually boil down to these 3 things, you know, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Now, 1 to 3 doesn't mean that's the order. I'm just saying there are 3 things, and they all play equal roles. Now, the thing is, HTML is where everything begins. So what we need to do is, to be able to use them, you have to link the HTML to JavaScript, and you have to link the HTML to CSS. So this linking, when you use an online editor like W3 Schools, is happening automatically. So there's one benefit of, you know, doing these things online, because these online editors are already doing this link. Oh, I'm not showing the screen. Oh, I just realized I'm not showing the screen. Oh my God, I did many steps. Oh, I was still explaining. Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, hold on. So let me just repeat the step. Oh, okay. What I was saying was, oh, my face is blocking the CSS. Let me just, there we go. Okay. All right. So what I was trying to say is, HTML, you know, and JavaScript and CSS, they are 3 of them are interlinked, and it doesn't matter whether you're building a mobile app or a web app, you're using some framework, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, they all boil down to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So now what we want to do here is, now one thing I want to mention, this is where I realized that I wasn't showing my screen, is when you use an online editor like CodePen, or when you use W3 Schools, the linking that I'm talking about is already done for you. So you don't have to worry about linking them, because the linking is already being done for you, and that is not an problem. However, when you start using VS Code, and now I realize I may have not recording my screen when I did this step. Let me just quickly repeat that. So what I did was, when I wasn't showing the screen, sorry, you know, I'm recording these videos alone by myself. Hopefully I'll be able to hire an assistant eventually. So there we go. So what I did was to practice on your computer. So this is the third method, right? So the first method is W3 Schools, second method is CodePen, and the third method is what I'm showing right now, which is code editor using VS Code, and the browser is Firefox. So go to your computer. I remember I told you that I like to keep my code in the videos folder because it does not get synced to OneDrive, right? So I'm going to create a new folder. This is where I was talking about giving meaningful names. So I'm going to call this episode 1 recording VS Code demo second try, because first time I wasn't showing the screen, sorry about that. So go inside the folder. Now this, to do these steps, especially this part, you should have already done all the steps from the previous videos. So if you are coming here new, go back, do those steps and come back here. Now let's right click, and then you're going to say open with code, and that's where I was. So look at this drawing. So we need 3 files. Look at this again. See, there are 2 files. You can't see, there's 1 file, but this contains everything. But if I look at this one, I have 3 files: HTML file, CSS file, JavaScript file. So 3 things. So I'm going to go here to VS Code. I'm going to say right click, and you start with a file called index.html. So in web programming, we always start with index. Okay, just remember that. Now let's go ahead and create another file. Let's call this style.css. Remember, there are 3 files: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So second file done. Third file, script.js. Now usually you can give whatever name you want, but you know, you are a beginner. For this crash course, please use the same names that I'm using. So what I'll do here is, I don't like typing. I already have my code, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to dump it here. See, very smart, eh? Okay, and then I'll click on this button. I'll get the output. Interesting, isn't it? Because here I'm only getting the skeleton. You know, I'm only getting the skeleton. Where's my lion? Where's my texture? I'm not getting that. The reason is, I mean, I have the code, right? I have the code. But if I look at the output, I'm not getting it. Now this goes back to what I said. You have to link HTML to JavaScript. You have to link HTML to CSS. So what I'll do here is, I'll go here. And now again, I don't like to remember things. I like to use the internet. So I'm going to go to W3 Schools again, to the main website. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to Learn CSS. Because I'm trying to link CSS, and how to, there we go, and it says external CSS. So to connect the CSS file, there's a small step here. I have to go to the head. Okay, I go to the head and I put this file here. Look at that, this line here. Okay, now here I'm going to mention the style. My file name is called style.css, so I'm going to say style.css. And now if I check my output, hey, it's working. Right, look at that. That's it. Very, very straightforward. So when I was using the online editor, I didn't have to do this step. See, there's no link, style sheet. It doesn't have that because the online editor automatically links them. But when you are doing on your computer using VS Code, I have to do it myself. So I put this line of code. However, I haven't linked the JavaScript yet. So once again, I'm going to go to W3 Schools. I'm going to go to JavaScript. And here again, there's an option called where to, and here there's a line which shows me how to use external JavaScript, right? So this is the line. So let's copy that line. Okay, and this is supposed to go just before the body. So I'm going to go here just before the body closing tag. I'll put this. Now here my name is script.js, so I'm going to change the file name to script.js. So I need to test if the JavaScript is working. So here right now my JavaScript is empty. Right, so let me do one thing. I'll go back to the online editor. I'm going to say console.log hello world, I am recording a video. Right, that is some basic JavaScript. Okay, I'm going to save and I'm going to check the output. And if I check out the developer tools, look at this. Look at this. Hello world. Look at that. Let me just do that again. Look at that. Hello world, I'm recording a video. Right, let me try that again. So I'm going to put another line. I'm going to say console.log. That is some basic JavaScript for you. We'll do more in future episodes. Hey, how are you? Right, and I know this font size is too small. It is too small, I'm sure. I don't even know if you can see what I'm typing, but I hope you are. I am recording at high quality, so you should be able to see. And I go here again. I check the output. Look at that. hey, how are you? I know this font size is too small. See, it's working. So we need to get the same thing on VS Code as well. So I'll go to VS Code, and what I'll do is, I don't like to type again because I already put the effort to typing. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, and I'll put this in my file. And now if I check my output, I'm gonna use Firefox. Remember to use Firefox, okay? So there you go. I'm getting the output, nice. And I check my developer tools. Look at that. Hey, how are you? I know this font size is too small. Hey, hello world, I'm recording a video. So there you go, my dear students. Okay, that is how you can run a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project. Now, obviously, I still need to show you how to do the same thing with Bootstrap, but I think I'm gonna do that after taking a break when I record the next segment. Thanks.